This is the C5 5.5-inch monitor from Andycine, and in today's overview, I'm going to take you through some of the features and of course, let you know my own thoughts about this product. Quick disclaimer though, this was sent to me for free by the company. However, the views and the observations with regards to this product are not influenced by anyone else but myself. So let's start with what's in the box. So we have the monitor, of course, and it comes in a carrying case. Pretty cool carrying case to keep your product safe whilst you're not using it. You've got a little zipper pocket at the back right here. You can chuck a few accessories in the back there. You're gonna be stuffing that with a lot more stuff that you don't actually need. What else? It comes with this USB-C cable. I'm not sure why there's not a port for USB-C on there. You've got an HDMI cable, micro to full size cable that can come in handy. You might need a different cable depending on what type of camera you're using. We also have a battery, which is really cool. Get a free battery, it's always good. And we have a monitor mount. So it's a swivel mount. It's a pretty nice touch. So you can get started straight away without having to buy extra accessories for this. All right, now let's talk about the build quality of this monitor. Now the monitor is primarily made from plastic, which makes it lighter and ultimately cheaper to produce, but obviously not as robust as a metal alloy body. It's a bit squeaky around the joints and there's a little bit of flex in there, which is a little bit concerning. So I probably wouldn't be too heavy-handed with this monitor. There are two Q20 inserts, one at the bottom and one at the side of the product for attaching your mounting accessories. And one aspect of the design that really stands out is the intake grills that are dotted around the body of the monitor. We have some at the back, on the sides, and at the top. So these are your intakes and this is your outtake for exhausting hot air. At the bottom we have the DC input and output jacks as well as an SD card slot. On the left are the HDMI in and out ports and a handy headphone jack as well. Now the power button and the jog wheel sits at the top, whilst the back accommodates an L series type battery and also a dummy battery mount. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about this later on. Now to power this on, we press and hold the power button for a couple of seconds and the monitor boots up in about 10 seconds or so. You can hear this come to life, you can hear the fan starting to go, but we talk about the fan in a bit. The menu button and the scroll wheel is also at the top, and even though it's pretty basic and lacks, some refinement, it really does what it's supposed to do. Now let's talk about ease of use. Now the user interface on this monitor makes it pretty intuitive and I think easy to navigate and understand. Now there are two ways of accessing the menu on this monitor. One of them is if you just slide up, it'll give you access to all of the tools, all of the on-screen tools that you can use with this. The second option, if you were to just depress the menu button at the top, then it'll launch the menu from the side of the screen and you can scroll through that using the jog wheel. There are some settings that you can only get by using the menu button and the side menu. It gives you a little bit more options than you would if you were to use the swipe up method. You can also turn on and off the touch function by just hitting the power button right at the top here. So if we just tap that once, then we can see we can't use the touch functionality anymore, and we have an icon in the top right hand corner with a cross in it saying that it's disabled. To turn it back on, you just do the opposite. You just hit that one more time and we get the touch functionality back. In terms of adjusting the brightness on the screen, you can go through the menus or you can do it quickly by using the left hand portion of the screen. So if we just slide up and down, we can see right away we can go from 0 or 1 to 100. And on the right hand side of the screen, that would affect the volume. So if we were to scroll down and up, we'll go from 0 to 100 for the volume button. There is also an auto brightness feature on this monitor, which is activated in one of the menus, and then that is controlled by this light sensitivity right at the top of the monitor, and depending on your ambient lighting situation, that will adjust the brightness of the screen to suit. Now let's talk a little bit about the features and the functionality of this. Now this little monitor packs a lot of the tools that you'd associate with higher end modern field monitors. There is a good range of focus, framing and exposure tools built into this that you can toggle on and off depending on what you want to see on your screen. You can have waveforms, false color, zebras, focus assist, just to name a few of the functions. There is also the facility to add custom LUTs as well. Now one of the highlighted features of this monitor is the reason it has this ultra bright stamp at the top of the monitor and why it is marketed as such. Now the specs claim this to have a 3000 nit brightness, which should really aid with visibility when used in daylight outdoors conditions or bright studio conditions. Now for me, I haven't tested that functionality, I haven't tested that claim. Really it's kind of relative sometimes when you're dealing with lighting and glare, and really just positioning this sometimes, or using a lens hood or using a monitor hood, would help you to reduce a lot of glare and to be able to see the monitor really in a lot of situations in any case. But to be honest with you, like if I was going to be using this primarily in an outdoor situation in bright lighting conditions, then I would definitely want to have one of these as opposed to, you know, something with a lower nit factor. Now let's touch briefly on the price point. Now this monitor currently retails at £289, and to be honest, with the build quality aside, I think it's competitively priced based on the features and the functionality factors alone. So what I like, well, one of the features on this monitor I really like is the dummy battery mount at the back, because it provides a convenient mounting point for, you know, things like wireless transmitters like this one, for example. So I can just attach that to the back here, and that would, you know, allow the monitor to conveniently mount and power this at the same time. Now this is a feature I would use quite a lot when I'm setting up my shots for product videos, as it allows me to move around the set untethered, and I can use a remote follow focus as well. I can just, you know, attach a remote follow focus, just mount it on the side here, and it allows me to nail the positioning and focus without having to traverse back and forth from the set to the camera for reference. Now let's talk about something that I don't like. Well, there's an internal cooling fan, and I get it, it's a really bright monitor and it's plastic, so there's not a lot of ways of dissipating heat, so you need to have a fan. The thing is, the fan is kind of always on. Now if we go into the fan settings right now and we check that, we can reduce the fan speed, so we can reduce it from 100% down to 0. It won't stay at 0 for very long, because as soon as this starts to get hot or you increase the brightness on the monitor, then this fan will go up anywhere between 50 and 100%, and the fan speed is in proportion to the noise. And you know, if that's going to be an issue for you in terms of sound recording, then you might want to really think about how loud that is going to get. So what I'm going to do right now is do a little test with this. I'm going to put this from 100% down to 0% on the fan speed, and you can see the difference it makes in terms of the noise. So I'm going to kind of put it near to where, you know, my mouth is, where the mic is picking up my audio, and we can see what happens when we go from 100% to 0%. So let me know if you can hear the difference. So it does make a whirring noise. I mean, relatively, like there are other elements in this room that are noisy. There's ambient noises. Maybe you can get away with it depending on how close you're gonna have this to your audio. Now to wrap it up, I think this monitor is great value for money. It's packed with quite a lot of features, and if I were in the market for an affordable monitor, I'd definitely consider it. I've added an affiliate link in the description if you're interested in checking it out on Amazon. Actually, you know what? It's almost Christmas, and I'm gonna give away this monitor to one of you. Like, all you have to do, leave a comment below, make sure you follow me on Instagram, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Let me know where you're from and why I should send you this monitor. So I'm gonna aim to announce and dispatch this to the lucky person by the end of November 2022. I hope you guys found this useful. Until next time, peace.